national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
All right, we're back with you. Tom Gresham here. 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial Tom-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. We're talking about, of course, we're talking about the school shooting in Parkland, Florida. We'll also talk about other subjects if you'd like, but really, this is what everybody's talking about right now. And the media, of course, is all over this. The gun-banning politicians are all over this. A lot of things going on. Oh, by the way, I want to remind you, I don't know where we are. We're doing this giveaway with Brownells, which is pretty cool. They call it the Get Retro giveaway. This is the last week to enter. So you got to do it now. If you go to brownells.com/retro, or you can go to guntalk.com/win, WIN, you can enter. And what they're doing is they're giving away the new Brownells 16A1 rifle. It's a clone of the military M16A1, but of course it's semi-auto. It replicates the iconic one that was used by GIs in the 1960s, Vietnam era. It's a very cool looking gun. But anyway, it's a retro style AR, if you will. Go to guntalk.com/win, WIN, and enter for a chance to win that. Obviously, only where it is legal. If you're in a restricted state, you're going to be SOL on that deal. And talking about the whole idea of should teachers have guns, one of the fun parts of the whole thing is when you stop somebody and say, we're not, and they do the what if, you know. So, well, it's already law in 18 states where teachers can carry guns or have guns. And they stop and like, well, it can't be true. Well, the reason you think it can't be true is because you haven't heard about it. And the reason you haven't heard about it is because there have been no problems. To talk to us right now about what we could do not only in schools, but everywhere when it comes to self-defense against these kind of active shooters, if you will, active killers, if you prefer. Ed Head joins us, a career federal law enforcement officer, obviously Gunsite instructor, and a friend of mine for a long time. How you doing, Ed?
Great, Tom. Nice to hear from you.
Good to hear from you. Okay, I mean, you've got all this experience in federal law enforcement. You've got all this training. And when I talk to you, when I see what you're putting online, what I hear right now is a fair degree of frustration from you. Am I right?
Yeah, it really is. We had two teachers gunned down in this latest school shooting who were attempting to defend their children. And they had the will, but unfortunately they were denied the means to assert their will. And that's just a tragedy to me.
It's really a case of the administration saying, you're required to die because we're not willing to give you the tools it would take to stop this attacker. So you got to throw your body in front of the bullets. The same thing happened in Newtown, where the teachers threw their bodies in front of the bad guy and got killed, where if any of them had had a firearm, the results most certainly, not even probably, most certainly would have been different.
Yeah, and every time we see one of these mass shooter types, as soon as they're confronted by a good person with a gun, they either kill themselves or get taken out, and it ends quickly. It ends immediately. And I hear arguments all the time of, well, this guy had a assault weapon, which we know is not what he had. But anyway, he had an assault weapon, and handguns will do no good against that. And that's just simply not true.
Well, we had the situation in Texas, I remember, where a couple of true terrorists had AKs, and police officers with handguns shot them and killed them and stopped them.
They sure did. And again, just having the will, having the training, and the determination to stop an outrage, in my opinion, is what it takes. And I think there are good people in these schools and in our communities all over the country who have that determination and that will, and we should allow them to exercise their right to defend themselves and their families and their communities.
Help people understand, because what I hear is people say, well, how could a teacher have a gun and have it secure against, maybe a kid getting a hold of it? How could a teacher be effective? Because they don't get the same training police officers do. You have taught an awful lot of people to shoot through the years, how to carry concealed, how to work in various situations. Of course, in your job, your Border Patrol existence, you had to go a lot of places and do interesting things. Help people understand how the average person can be trained to do the kind of things we're talking about.
Well, I don't want to insult my colleagues in law enforcement, but for the most part, we do a better job in a week at Gunsite training people than most police academies do in 12 weeks or 15 weeks or something like that. We produce people who can successfully handle and manage their firearms, get hits at reasonable distances, and have a mindset that allows them to deal with adversity and to protect that firearm. You were mentioning, how can we keep guns out of the hands of the wrong people in the schools? And I hear proposals like, well, we'll put the guns in lock boxes and the authorized persons can go get them. That's ridiculous. It needs to be on your person, not in a desk drawer, not locked up somewhere. It needs to be on your person. And when you carry a gun every day and you assume that responsibility, you assume also the responsibility to protect it. You become very aware of that, and you keep that gun away from people who shouldn't have it.
And there are skills that you can learn that can be taught about firearm retention. I mean, you know those.
Absolutely. And, it becomes habitual after a while to keep your gun sight turned away from people who might, want to put the grab on it or something like that. And, yes, weapon retention skills are quite easy to learn, and that should be a part of this kind of training.
Okay, I'm going to circle back because I was smiling as you were talking, because there are going to be people who are going to say, it is not possible that in 40-hour class at Gunsite you can teach people more than officers are taught or be better than. And I'm going to throw one thought out, and that is, one of the things you don't have to teach the average citizen is all of the laws and all the ramifications and all the rules of engagement, all the rest of it, because, the average citizen has a really good grasp of who's trying to kill him or who is trying to rape her. They've got the whole target identification thing figured out. So what you're really having to do is you're teaching them really good weapons training, retention, shooting on the move, malfunction drills, shooting on your back, shooting from your side, how to go through a building, all of those things. And I'm sorry to say it, my police officer friends will forgive me for this, but I've shot with cops, and people say, well, he's a police officer. I say, yeah, that's just not enough. If you tell me he's a police officer, he knows what he's doing, I'm sorry, that's just not good enough for me in most cases.
Well, yeah, and you know as well as I do that a lot of police officers are not motivated gun people. They qualify when they have to. Some of them dread it every single time because they're afraid they're not going to pass, and they never practice and that kind of thing. Then you've got the gun people, and they're shooters. And the people we get coming to Gunsite they've made their mind up to be gun people. So they're motivated. They're spending a pretty good chunk of change to do that. And so they have quite a bit of motivation to learn and become as proficient as they can possibly be.
And when you do a full immersion class like this, and that's what people say, yeah, but what would you do for teachers? This Ohio has the FASTER program, and it is like a 5-day Gunsite type of class, but is specialized for teachers, and not everybody passes. Not everybody gets a certification on that. But you give somebody a full week of intense instruction from good instructors, you would be amazed what they can do.
Oh, yeah. And, one of the things I like to see at Gunsite, for example, that just proves the concept is we'll start a 5-day class, and there'll be a mixture of people in there, beginning shooters, experienced shooters, police officers, military people. And the first couple of days, the police officers and the military guys are smoking that 17-year-old, 18-year-old girl who's a beginning shooter. But she pays attention and listens and so forth. And the police officer and the military guy, they think they've already got it figured out. But the girl absorbs everything, and at the end of the week, she destroys them in the shoot-off and ends up being a better shooter and shoots a better score. And that proves to me that the system works if you'll let it work, and you'll let it happen.
You know, we're also fortunate. I was going to ask you about this. Obviously, Gunsite is kind of the grandfather of all of these gunfighting, self-defense schools. And I know there have been some that have popped up that are not so great. But we also are fortunate. There are a number of good schools. It's not enough now for you to say, well, I don't live near Arizona. You know, you can find good instruction in almost any part of the country now, can't you?
Yes, you can, and that's one of the things that we've benefited from over the last 20 or 30 years. Is there's been a huge increase in quality firearms instruction throughout the country, and I think if communities, getting back to the teacher thing, communities or states want to get involved in this and develop training programs, they'd find a lot of support from the civilian training world. They'd find a lot of support from the law enforcement world, and there's no reason at all that those resources can't be brought together to develop really high-quality training programs.
I'm going to throw one other thought out here, Ed, and that is having been a guy that hangs around Gunsite a lot through the years, I've heard the stories, and you will get the occasional police officer who will come and spend his or her money to take the class, even though they've been through the academy, or even military personnel who come in there and they get training, and then sometime later, and you've gotten the calls, you've seen the letters that come in and say, I was in Afghanistan and I'm alive because of Gunsite. I'm a police officer and I got into a shootout and I'm alive because of Gunsite. Not because of the military training or the police training, but what they learned there. I'm not overstating this, am I?
No, you're not. And And that's why we do what we do. I'll tell you, I could tell you countless stories, but I'll tell you a quick one. I was sitting in the office up at Gunsite when I was the operations manager. Phone rings, and it's a sat phone from a Marine in Iraq. And he's calling me on a sat phone. He's in the middle of a firefight. I could hear the boom, 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 the 50 caliber going off over his head. Blank, 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 rounds hitting the armored vehicle. And he says, Ed, remember me? We trained your whole group. And he said, yeah. I just wanted to let you know we've been in 82 gunfights since we've been over here, and every one of us is coming home. I get choked up because of the Gunsite training.
Well, you know what? Let's take that and apply it to teachers. You know what? If you're a teacher, it doesn't matter if your school is putting you through training. There's no reason you can't go do it on your own. Take care of yourself. Whether or not you can carry there, you may not be able to carry, but you can other places. And for anybody else, take care of yourself. Don't wait for it to be done institutionally. Ed, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. I wish we had more time, my friend.
Always good to speak with you, Tom, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, you take care. Ed Head, one of the good guys out there. All right, our number is 866-TALK-GUN. Don't wait for the institution to do it for you. If you are a teacher and you think this is serious stuff, do it for yourself. Whether or not you're allowed to carry there, and I'm not saying you should carry when you should, or prohibited, but provide for your own protection, and I'll tell you what you're going to get out of it. There's a change in your mindset. It's going to change the way you look at things. It will simply change your life. 866-TALK-GUN.
Your everyday carry advantage. The new M&P Shield M2.0 pistol from Smith & Wesson has the enhancements of the M2.0 line with aggressive grip texture and a crisp and lighter trigger pull. Extremely thin and lightweight, you can carry it all day. Also available with an integrated crimson trace laser in 9 or 40. The M&P Shield M2.0. Visit smith-wesson.com.
If you're like me, you don't have money to burn, but you still want to buy guns, ammo, and accessories. That's why we created Gun Dealio. That's a free smartphone app. Just download it and start getting the deals. Could be discounts, offers of free magazines for your gun, or you could be the first to hear about new stuff from gun makers. Here's how it works. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you get alerts when you enter a gun store. Special deals, you know. You don't have to do a thing. It'll do a lot of other cool things, like let you watch gun videos and listen to Gun Talk podcast. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Getting more while spending less. Smart, huh? Gun Dealio. Made in America. Gluten-free. At the App Store and Google Play or gundealio.com.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
So I'm going down the road a couple of days ago, and my phone goes shotgun sound, and it's the Gun Dealio going off again. Somebody sitting next to me looks over, what is that? Yeah, it's okay. It's a notification. We went by a gun store. If you have Gun Dealio on your phone, our smartphone app, you got to update it. If you're getting notifications now, everything's working, it's fine. If you have it on your phone and you're not getting notifications, then you probably didn't do the update. And you've got the old version, which is not functioning now. So you do the update, and when you do, you have to allow notifications. That's how it works. You're going to find out about the cool deals, how to save money. So Gun Dealio. If you don't have it on your phone, shame on you in the first place. You got to go get it. You got to save money. It's called Gun Dealio on the App Store, Google Play. Put it on your phone. Works as simple as that. Got an email. This is from Jeff. He says, I recently got both my 6-hour compact and subcompact back after getting the voluntary upgrade. I have to say that the SIG turned an awesome trigger into an awesomer trigger. It says, while the pull weight remained unchanged, the travel and brake are short and crisp, and reset is quick. He went on to say something I thought was very interesting and telling. He said, when first reading about the drop issue, I was aggravated and a bit incensed. I expected SIG to make good. And then he goes on and says, well, they did. They volunteered. They jumped in. They started doing things within 2 weeks. That's incredibly fast. And then he says this, which I thought was really interesting. He says, what I found disappointing was looking at videos online about this, was the low level many of the folks there went to just to get more viewers and readers and likes. Think about that. If you're a YouTuber and what you want is lots of views, then what may well work for you is to put something on there that this particular new gun is a total POS. And people will share that. They'll send it to me. Yeah, that thing's a piece of junk. And they're sending it to everybody, and you're getting all these views. But if you go on there and say, SIG, they had an issue, and they addressed it, and we got it back, and, man, the thing works great. It's got a good trigger. Everything's working. Everything's fine. Nobody's going to get mad. They're not going to share it. So I guess what I'm saying is, when you start looking at videos online or look at things online like that where people, it is a benefit to them to have more viewers, more readers, more likes, you might just apply a bit of salt to it, a grain of salt, because there could be something going on here where they actually are saying something negative about a product as a way to generate more traffic. It happens. It's true. It happens. And Jeff, you're pretty smart to figure that one out. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. I want to drop down to line 4 where John's with us out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. Hey, John, you're on Gun Talk.
Yes. Listening, I'm thinking back. I was in grade school in the 50s and very early 60s, and that was Cold War time, and I remember us having drills, getting under a desk, stick our butt up in the air, put our hands over our head, and you look back at that and you just laugh. How stupid was that? But it's, it's sad to believe that we really haven't come much farther with any kind of decisions now what they're talking, what's going on today. I mean, my gosh.
You know, you're right. I hadn't thought of that. But, well, you know, some of the kids that are getting shot in these things are getting shot through their hands because we're basically telling them, you know, just hunker down. And we haven't really come very far from that, have we?
A week or so ago, you did have somebody talk about, and you mentioned this morning earlier about guns in the gun rack in the pickup. No, back then, we actually had, you know, guys who went duck hunting or deer hunting in the fall. They would bring their guns in and store them in their lockers, of all
in the
things,
school.
you know. Yeah. I remember that one time. Pardon me.
No, that's what, basically that's what I was saying was that back then we had guns in schools and they were loaded. People had ammo for them, or they had them in their trucks, and we didn't have this. So if the availability of guns didn't change, go back to the scientific method, you have to look at it and say, okay, what variable changed? Because we have a different outcome, a different result. Some variable changed. The gun thing didn't change. Something else did, societal or medications or what?
Exactly. It's not the next new gun you're going to produce tomorrow. It's what happened, you know, for people my age in my late 60s, what the heck happened between, you know, so that was my comments.
It's a perfect comment, and I appreciate you making it. The problem is, for a lot of people, it's hard to look at that and say, well, gee, you know, gosh, we have video games that train people to kill, and to kill over and over and over again and desensitize them. We put tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of children on psychotropic drugs where one of the side effects, the warnings, is homicidal ideation. Really? Where they will dream about and fantasize about killing people? And we wonder that, sure, it's going to happen to some of them. We don't want to look at that for some reason. I don't know if it's Big Pharma or what the deal is. I don't know. What's your take on that? 866-TALK gets you in. Be right back with more Gun Talk.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
Hey, welcome back. You know, we talk about safety, and it comes in a lot of different ways. I'm just thinking, you've got real safety, which is, you know, being safe. You have different levels of safety. You also have a sense of safety, a peace of mind, which is sometimes we make light of, but really the peace of mind is real, and it makes you feel good, and it's a benefit. It's one of the things I think you get out of the Blink system. I've been talking about for a while, these little bitty cameras you put in your house, your camp, wherever. You work off of the internet. It's really just set them up. Little bitty things like, I don't know, size of a pack of cards. And you can see the images, the video from them, from your phone, from anywhere. And you can also set them up so they will send you notifications if there's motion. So they have motion detection there. So that if somebody comes into your home, it'll send you a notification, and then you can see the video of who's in the house. You could also set it up so that happens outside of your house if somebody comes around your house. So it is true safety because you can know what's going on and you can call the police if you need to. It's also a peace of mind issue. You just feel better knowing that you have that level of protection. So it's the guys at Blink Cameras. It's a pretty cool outfit. Now, from what they tell me, you're getting 3 of their cameras for what the other guys charge for only 1 camera. And you're going to get an extra 10% off with the code GUNTALK. All you have to do is go to blinkprotect.com/guntalk, blinkprotect.com/guntalk. And then when you get there, you got to type in Gun Talk, all one word, upper or lowercase, doesn't matter, in the discount field, and you're going to get an extra 10% off. blinkprotect.com/guntalk. All right, let's go to line 1. William's with us out of Anchorage, Alaska. Been on hold for a while. William, thank you for your patience. You have something interesting to offer here, I believe.
Well, I hope so. What I want to offer everybody is a way to stop school shootings that doesn't involve banning guns. What I'm talking about is the Israeli solution. You can find this on the internet easily. They had the same problem we do of people coming into their schools and wanting to kill their kids. So they came up with this a layered approach. The layers, I'll go into that, is the number one is armed guards. Apparently in Israel, if a school population is 100 students or more, they have to have an armed guard at the school. A second layer is denial access, security. In other words, you can't just walk into a school carrying a rifle or wearing a suicide vest. They have people there to stop you. And also high fences, they mention, in that the fences are high enough that and far enough away from the school areas where the kids are that the person just can't throw explosives in on them. The third layer is profiling. I know that's a bad word in law enforcement today, but in Israel, what you need to do is to look at who is a potential threat and then take steps to prevent that person or persons from gaining access to your school. So, and just anybody wants to see
if you fly on the Israeli airline El Al internationally, you're going to be profiled. You're going to have some serious conversations with people who work for the airline, but who really are governmental agents, and they're going to be talking to you about where you're going, what you're doing, who you're going to see, that kind of thing. And as a result, they have a really good track record.
Yeah, I think they do that. When you're boarding the plane, they have people that walk around and interview you, correct?
Correct. That's right.
All right.
And I know that one of the layers, I'm thinking, help me out here, but don't I remember that in Israel, in a lot of places, the teachers themselves have firearms?
From the article I was reading, I couldn't come up with that information. In fact, it seems from the article that and I'll tell you what the article is, that from the article, they have actually dedicated guards and people that's what they do at the school. This information, for your listeners that want to see where I got this information, is on a website called Campus Safety Magazine. And just go there and just query Israelis, and this article will come up. So I think it's useful for anybody. And they're not talking about banning guns here. This is just what actions we could take without an act of Congress to help solve this problem with the school shootings.
Yep, exactly. I agree, William. Thank you very much. I appreciate that call. Actually, what he's describing here is very much like what we do in the U.S. for fire safety in schools. We have not had a child lost in a school fire in 50 years. Why is that? Well, we have a layered approach. We design schools and build them that don't burn. All right, that's the first thing. We do fire drills. We train people to use fire extinguishers. We have all these layers, and we take it seriously. And you know what? We take it seriously and we put money into it. There's a little old line that you will show what you truly value by what you will spend your money and your time on. And if we won't spend money on security at schools, real money, then it tells us that our administrators, the people you and I elect, the people you and I pay to do their jobs, are not serious about protecting our children and our grandchildren. Oh, gee, let's see. We're paying their salaries. We could make a change. We can fire some of them. Same with the state legislators. We pay their salaries. We elect them. If we will get off our collective rear ends, we can make something happen, couldn't we? Line 2, Joe's with us out of Marshall, Texas, with an interesting concept proposition. Joe, what are you thinking here?
Well, when you look back at the last 8 years and the lawless, reckless use of executive orders that we saw out of President Obama, what do you think we might make Clinton and
Oh, man, his cell phone's breaking up on him. I tell you what, we're going to have to move it. I'm sorry, Joe, but, man, you got a bad cell phone. It's just not going to work. Let's go talk to Ruben on line 3. He's out of Montana. Ruben, what's in your head here?
Well, we're focusing on an AR-15 causing all these problems. I don't think the parents of them kids that got shot would be any happier if somebody used a single shot. And so we can't blame the gun.
Well, it's an interesting point. Why do we focus on the type when it's really the result and the action of the bad guy here? But and look, I understand what you're saying, and you make a good point, Ruben. But at the same time, it gives them something to focus on. And I think that's a lot of what's going on here. And look, thanks for the call. I think they look at this and say, well, we know it's a big thing for us to try to change society. They understand that. And so we can focus on something. We must, quote unquote, do something. Now, of course, they want to ban the AR-15. Wait. For those who don't know, who just came in late, we banned it from 1994 to 2004. The Clinton gun ban banned these. Didn't have any effect on crime, didn't have any effect on anything else. But because it didn't work before, we should try it. Wait a minute, it makes my head hurt. 866-TALK-GUN.
Whether you are a first-timer or seasoned shooter, Double Star has the guns, edged weapons, and parts you desire. Our products are made in America and held to the highest quality standards. No exceptions. Double Star and Ace Limited manufactures products people bet their lives on without hesitation. That awesome responsibility motivates the Double Star family, and it will proudly protect yours. When you're ready for the best, join our family at star15.com. That's star15.com.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsmen.org. That's ussportsmen.org.
Back with you, and we have some open lines if you'd like to join us. 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial me at Tom Talk Gun. We're talking about the Florida school shooting. What's your suggestion? I mean, we've talked about a lot of different things, but if you just open it all the way up, what's your suggestion? What do you think we should be doing? What is being missed? And, of course, the other thing, I'm still looking for reactions to, God, the media. They've just lost their minds on this. They don't seem to care what's true, what's not true, what's factual, what's not. They just repeat anything. They've keep repeating this. Well, there have been 18 school shootings in 2018. No. Even the Washington Post says that's not true. The number comes from the Everytown for Gun Safety, the Michael Bloomberg gun ban group. And what they do is, we had a police officer who was in a school who negligently fired a shot, okay? No one got hurt. A police officer fires a shot in a school, screws up. They count that as a school shooting. The idea, of course, the purpose, the goal, is to convince the public that we are having school shootings everywhere all the time and your children are in danger. We must do something. And their do something is we must ban as many guns as possible. We'll take the biggest chunk we can get. We'll put up with a smaller chunk if we have to, but we want to get them all eventually. We understand that's where we're going. So that's what's going on. Okay, let's go back to line 3. Joe has rejoined us with a better connection. Hey, Joe, welcome.
Hey, Tom. Cell phones can be frustrating. In light of
tell me about it. I'm glad you made it back in.
Thanks. In light of the last 8 years of reckless executive orders, what do you think we might be facing this next week had Hillary won the election?
I think that's a given. When Hillary Clinton was running, literally every time she made a speech, she included gun control as one of her major platforms. She said that the political enemy she was proudest of was the National Rifle Association, that is you and me, legitimate, honest, responsible gun owners of America. She counts as her enemies. And she said she wants to ban as many guns as possible. She wanted to get the most popular rifles in America banned, pick them up, confiscate them, take them away from you. So I don't think we have to imagine too much, do we, about what she would have wanted or what she would have been able to do?
Not at all. And look, one other question I have for you. Why don't we adopt the same sort of inflammatory language of the left and put them on the defense instead of us always being on the defense? One of the things I would like to see us ask is, well, I lost my thought. I would like to know, gun-free zones promote their agenda. And if they implemented the solutions that you propose and that gun activists propose, it would disable their agenda. They need gun-free zones to keep mass shootings going.
Well, there is a germ of something there, and I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you for your call. Why don't we use inflammatory? Well, we don't like to lie. I mean, as straightforward as I can be, we tend to want to just work with facts and what is true and what actually is. And we look at data, and we look at the FBI's uniform crime reports, and we look at the data from the CDC, and we look at the data from the National Safety Council, which says that accidental gunshot deaths is at its lowest point it's ever been. The CDC study a couple of years ago said they could find no evidence of any gun control law in the United States that had ever reduced crime. The media won't cover that, of course. I guess the bottom line is we don't lie. Responsible gun owners, of course, we have the facts on our side, so we don't have to. The other problem is if you have a media that has bought into the super leftist agenda, and they have, and they now, at least, they don't pretend anymore. They don't say, well, we're unbiased or we're trying to be objective. They tell you, this is what we're looking for. We're going to push it. And you don't find much news anymore. You just find media. You find people parading in 5-person panels and pretending that they're actually saying something when they're just yelling at each other all the time. And volume replaces logic. Volume replaces reason. And if you can cut somebody off in a conversation and the interruptions are constant, then somehow that advances your agenda, your argument, and basically you shout people down, not just figuratively, but literally. And those of us on the gun owner side tend to not want to play that game. Now, you could make the point and say, well, you know what? Then you're going to lose. Because if you won't get in there and mix it up, maybe you'll lose. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't know that we can get in there. For one thing, what do we have to lie about? All the facts are on our side. And ultimately, we're the ones who have given away tens of millions of gun safety locks. No gun ban group has ever done that. No gun ban group has ever taught gun safety. It's us who have taught tens of millions of children to avoid guns. The NRA's Eddie Eagle program. If you see a gun, stop, don't touch, leave the area, tell an adult. It's a gun avoidance program taught by gun people because we don't want small children to find guns and not know what to do with them or possibly get hurt. The gun ban groups don't do that. They're not doing gun safety. They're not giving away millions and millions of gun locks the way we are. They're just calling for a ban on guns. And I always like it when they say, well, this is just common sense. No, common sense is their code for this is what we want, and if you disagree with us, we're going to marginalize you and demonize you and make it look like you're so stupid you don't even have common sense. And the other thing is, well, the American public wants this. No, actually it doesn't. If you stop and talk to the American public and you say, are you aware of what the current gun laws are, and you get a chance to talk to them, they'll go, oh, well, the things that they're telling us we need are actually already law. Yes. If you buy a gun from a gun store, you have to have an FBI background check. I didn't know that. I thought that when they said we needed background checks, I thought that meant we didn't have any background checks. No. Currently, you go to a gun store, you have to do a background check. Oh, okay. That's why when I say that the public doesn't really want more gun control, but the way they do the polls sure makes it sound like they do, doesn't it? 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. You're listening to Gun Talk. All right, let's talk for a couple of minutes, get serious about the school shooting, what happened in Florida, who screwed up, and what we can do about it, right? It's not enough to say, well, we don't have to do anything. Of course we need to do something about it. We have the FBI that was notified at least twice about this, who dropped the ball on it. We have the sheriff's department who went to this home 39 times, at least it's reported, went out there on 39 different calls about this disturbed young person. What were they doing? What happened here? Something screwed up. Something was bad. I mean, and obviously you got parents involved. You got all sorts of issues involved. Still haven't heard, but the odds favor that he was on some sort of medication, either on it or had recently gotten off of it. I think we'll discover that is certainly true. I can't do anything about that. I don't know that you can. That's at a different level. But there are things you and I can do. If you're in a state where teachers, administrators are allowed to carry guns, encourage it and support it. In some states, you can make a donation to help with the funding for the training. That's worthwhile. Spread the word about it. The FASTER program, if you'll go to fastersaveslives.org, you can see what they do. It's a great program started in Ohio, but I think it may be moving to some other states as well. If your state doesn't have that, well, now you have a clear path. State legislators should be hammered mercilessly from gun owners saying we need this in our schools. And yes, the PTA will say we don't want it. The teachers' unions will say we don't want it. And here's the thing. And I've heard people say, well, teachers just should not be required to do it. Well, they're not going to be required. It's always voluntary. And they still have to qualify. So nobody's talking about forcing teachers to have guns. But if you allow the ones who volunteer and get the training, look, teachers want to protect kids. They love kids. That's why they're in the business. They can make more money doing something else, generally speaking. Give them the tools, give them the training, let them help protect the children. Don't require them to die to throw their bodies in front of these people. Also, get serious about protection. Let's go with some serious fortifications. Let's go with some barriers. Let's, put money into it. And then, of course, I'm going to go back to something I've talked about an awful lot. School boards. Nobody goes to school board meetings. Yeah, I tell you what, you go to a school board meeting, you might find 6 people sitting out there. And they're all there only because they've got something going on that they want to hammer on. What would happen if, say, 6 of the people from the local gun club go to every single school board meeting? Just sit there. Just say, I'm going to go to dinner, and then we're going to go to the school board meeting each week. Well, they're going to say, well, who are you guys? What are you going to do? And finally, you're going to have a chance to say something. If you don't show up, nothing's going to happen. If you won't make a call, nothing's going to happen. If you won't contact your legislators, you're not going to get there. If you want these things to happen, if you care about the kids, if this makes you mad as hell, as it does me, then it's time, as I say, to get off our collective butts and do something about this. We have to get serious about it. We have to protect these kids. And it's not that there are more guns available now. That's not it at all. Guns used to be in schools, and we didn't have school shootings. Something else has changed. Until and unless we can figure that out, we have to do something else. And that something else at this point, I'm afraid, is simply literally protecting students with guns, because the bad guys will shoot until somebody with a gun shows up. The only question is, how long do you want to wait until that person comes? When you call 911, you're calling somebody and saying, please bring a gun to stop these guys. If you'd like to get in on the after show, call me right now, 866-TALK-GUN. In the meantime, be safe. Take care of those kids.